Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Tom Numbers here. So, Charlie Kirk, it's a week ago now. A week to remember. A week to remember in numbers is 159. Charles James Kirk is 163 in numbers. If you add those together, Charles James Kirk, a week to remember, comes to 322. 322 is the skull and bones number. People have seen all over the internet lots of discrepancies in regards to the Charlie Kirk assassination. I think it's multi-layered. I think the White Hats are allowing that to be shown, deliberately to be shown, to point the finger and make people question all kinds of things in terms of what they're actually seeing, what's being presented to them in front of their eyes. Still a lot of people think it's the narrative that has been put out. The Truth the movement is not split on it, but there's lots of different factions in terms of what people believe and what they think has happened. But there seems to be, because the only reference point other than those that were there, if there were people there, are what we've seen on the TV, on the internet, on the videos. And there's different angles of different shootings. There looks like there's AI stuff moving across his t-shirt. Looks like there's some kind of squib device. There looks to be other different shooters from different angles. So this is education on assassinations. It's education on JFK and other, I guess, other events. But that aside, why did it take place at the university? The Utah Valley University. So I've done shows in the past with a guy called Gene Decode. Gene has talked excessively about the DUMBs, the deep underground military bases, the military industrial complex around the earth, particularly in the US, but they're here in the UK, but they're all dotted around everywhere. Dark to light is revealing things that were in the darkness and bringing them to light. The Dark Knight Rises and the Dark Knight in terms of the Batman films. Dark to light is uncovering something that was in the darkness and then bringing it to light. What is under the ground? Anything by definition under the ground is in darkness. And what is under the ground? Even Baron Trump's historical books talk about the marvelous underground adventure. I've misquoted that name, but you know what I'm talking about. I haven't read the books, but I want to. I should get around to that. But the reason that they chose that location for this whole thing, because this is only the tip of the iceberg, is going to blow the doors off of everything. It's going to be, in my opinion, the trigger point for. It will lead to other things, but it will be the trigger point. It will be the fuse that lights everything. And there'll be that was a black swan event, but it's not the black swan event that's coming. That will precipitate from this, and it will be connected to underground DUMBs. The Utah Valley University equals 322 in numbers. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. And that's why they chose that location, and that's why Charles James Kirk 163, a week to remember 159, add them together comes to 322. 163 Charles James Kirk also equals Jeffrey Epstein 163. On the good side, it also equals Make America Great Again, so there's that level of it. But the reason that was pinpointed at that location is because there's a DUMB in that. I think it's probably literally right underneath the university. Well, it is. That's why they've chosen that location. But Gene Decode has said about that there's ones in that area. And that's why they had the earthquakes in the beginning of COVID in Utah. And that's why the Mormon trumpet fell off. The angel Moroni, or Moroni, as it's cleverly mispronounced in the Heretic film, which is about Mormons, and then it turns into a horror as they go underground. the first week of COVID, there was a news report with a guy that was apparently stuck in Utah. He lived in Italy apparently, but he was American, and he joked and said he thought it was funny that the Moroni trumpet fell off. That's metaphor from Space Force saying that the Mormon Church unfortunately got sacked. We know that from the tour. President Trump did a clip, not the capitulation tour that is out there, but there's another piece that could be put in that, where President Trump goes to Temple Square, walks in front of all the Mormon leaders, and serves a notice. So all the semaphores there, and that happened a year or two before COVID. But the prophecy is that the angel Moroni is supposed to fly through the midst of heaven, but literally the Trump dropped the mic drop. There's even the mic drop with Charlie Kirk in the metaphor of, well, the imagery of him being shot. But there's plenty of evidence out there, video evidence, which is the only way people know about the story, is that it was a squib. It was a false flag, we'll call it that. But the question is why. The White Hats have lined it up. Something's going to trigger the whole thing with the kid that's been arrested for it, Tyler Durden. There's another kid that was called Tyler Robinson that is connected to the Imagine Dragons, the band. This other kid had cancer and died age 17 a few years ago. 17's Q. Imagine Dragons is 136, which is Dark Knight. Dark Knight is 136, which is Great Awakening 136. Charlie Kirk is 105, plus 31, his age is 136. It's all connected, folks. I made the comparison about Charlie Kirk and Harvey Dent. Harvey Dent was played by Aaron Eckhart. Aaron Eckhart was brought up a Mormon, but his character went from being the hero of Gotham, and then it was covered up, and they brought in the Dent Act, and then a few days later I'd mentioned that, and then they're looking to bring in or reinstate a new Charlie Dent Act. It's a multi-level game, folks. It's a multi-level game. There's different pictures of Charlie Kirk out there with different sized teeth, and previous and then before, where the teeth have got smaller, and there's all kinds of things. So you have to do your own, viewing around the internet on it. But the main thing is I believe that they're going to, Dark to Light is revealing of the dumbs. It'll be many things, but there's a Black Swan event coming. Another one, Life of Chuck. There's a film out right now called The Life of Chuck. Who's Chuck? Well, Prince Charles is getting visited by President Trump tomorrow. So that's one Chuck. But the other Chuck in the room is Charlie Kirk. The Life of Chuck is 132, The Prestige, Princess Diana 132. And they talk about a big thing of 39 years for the life of Chuck. So that's a significant number. But in the opening scenes of that film, Life of Chuck, there's three things. There's a sinkhole that happens in the film, and sinkhole is a hole because there's something else underneath, i.e. leading to things underneath. So what's underneath the ground? The dumbs, the tunnels. Tunnel is 86 in numbers. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. 86 is Black Swan. There's going to be a Black Swan event coming that will trigger the storm. The question is where and when. They've chosen that, but it will ricochet around the whole earth. That's what's going to happen. Then again, in the opening scene of the film The Life of Chuck, which is difficult to see in cinemas now, it kind of came and went, but they showed us. There's an internet blackout, and there's reference points to certain internet sites that people couldn't access because of the internet ban, and that was happening at the same time as certain acts were being introduced here in England. And then the other part is there's an emergency broadcast. The emergency broadcast takes place in the life of Chuck, and we had an emergency broadcast test again just 10 days ago here in England. It's really close, folks. It's really close. But again, to reiterate, military industrial complex is 322. The Utah Valley University in numbers is 322. Charles James Kirk, A Week to Remember, is 322. If you do Jeffrey Epstein cloning facility, it's 322. Why did Prince Andrew, connected to Jeffrey Epstein, talk about that he doesn't sweat? Apparently clones don't sweat. Clones are very realistic. They look like you and me. They look like us. They're designed to look like us, but apparently they don't sweat. And that's soft disclosure from the White House, getting Prince Andrew to come up with a ridiculous condition saying that people don't sweat, but apparently clones don't sweat. And why did he go to Pizza Express in Woking? Because Woking is another location in the UK for a military industrial complex. Military industrial complex is 322 in numbers. I did a video on this about 1.5 years ago on Twitter, and it had loads and loads of views. I've been talking about the film F1. F1 is full-on disclosure about what's coming, and they pepper in red pills in terms of the good and hope, and they also disclose things that have gone on as well. One of the scenes in that film is Apex GP is the racing car team, and they're using the real location of Woking, of McLaren Formula One, that racing team, but that is based in Woking in England, in Surrey. And Surrey in numbers is 106, which is red pilling, which is also network. So there's a network of tunnels, but that's where it is. But they say in that film, they say the woman Kate 37, Dome 37, Hell 37, she says to Sonny Hayes, the Brad Pitt character, she says, at the next Grand Prix, at the Dutch Grand Prix, you'll be turning into the such and such corner at 322 kilometers per hour. So she says, while they're in that location in Woking, the Apex GP team, but in reality is the McLaren team, she says 322, because that's where one of the military industrial complex bases are. And the other way that you know it is because the A road that goes past Woking is the A322. And I did a video on this 1.5 years ago. It's real, folks. Someone's just turned their lights on in front of me just as I said that, just to confirm it. You see, this is how the synchronicities work, folks. It's real. I just say it's real and they've just turned their lights on. So this is how it works. This is how it works. What I've just told you is true. And the world's going to know really soon. We're really, really close, folks. Like, we're really so close. But sinkholes are going to start appearing around the earth, and they will reveal the tunnels and the dams and what's been going on there. One thing as well is, so in terms of the human trafficking of children and adults, with men and women, I've wondered for a long time when they talk about the vast numbers that's been happening on. I think it's 22,000 a day. Whether that's a statistic now or has been in the past, it's a vast number. And I've been wondering, well, how on earth can they get away with that in terms of people realizing that their loved ones have gone? No, this came to me the other day, and I've just been talking with a friend of mine just before this show, and we were talking about it, and it reminded me to mention this. So one thing that perhaps could have been happening is, because I was thinking, well, how do they cover it? And then I was like, okay, black magic, spellbinding, magician, trickery, and all those things have been taking place. And I guess maybe some peripheries of it still now, but it's going away. Perhaps what they have been doing is capturing men, women, and children, and then doing what they do to them in terms of sacrificing and adrenochrome and all the nasty things that have been going on under the tunnels and under the bases, and usually at central places like sporting arenas, churches, universities, big places where people can get moved in and out. Perhaps when they go missing, sometimes they never return, but perhaps some of them have been cloned. And I'm assuming, I'm not an expert on this, but I'm assuming that perhaps what they could have been doing is, when they get the real human, because they know who the real humans are, they get them, do what they do to them, and I guess that's the purest form of their kick, their satanic kick that they get out of it. But then if they clone that person and put them back into society, that's one way of shuffling people in and out without people realizing, without the alarm bells going. And the numbers, Jeffrey Epstein cloning facility is 322. The military industrial complex is 355, which comes to Parliament Square, Westminster, 355, which is, remember the 5th of November. And if you do the military industrial complex, that's 355, which is Westminster, Parliament Square, 355, which would be the Jeffrey Epstein cloning facility as well. So this whole thing of connecting with Harvey Dent, Two-Face character, Aaron Eckhart, a Mormon, brought up a Mormon, no longer a Mormon, Maroney's men, this shooting happening in Utah, and the whole thing with Charlie Kirk. And I intrinsically got told that Charlie Kirk, because I've wondered for a while who is the character that in The Dark Knight, the Harvey Dent character. It's Charlie Kirk. And we'll see what happens with that. President Trump said from top to bottom about, he described him within minutes of it, top to bottom, or from top to bottom, comes to 223, which is military tribunals, military tribunal. So it gives me no, I'm just pointing out what's there, folks. But it's, as with all of it, it's a multi-layered thing. So many of them are 2.0 that President Trump has been using, and that's how they've been doing it. They've been doing 2.0. The fake hands in the casket and everything else. And I'm just pointing this out. But all of that aside, because it's a reveal, it's disclosure, it's a distraction, but it's pointing towards what's below. It's the dumbs. I'll say it again. The Utah Valley University is 322 in numbers, which is military industrial complex. Woking, Prince Andrew, Prince Pizza, Woking, Pizza Express, doesn't sweat, clones don't sweat. The A322 road goes right past Woking. Another 159, so cloning facility, 159, is also Gustavo Fring from Breaking Bad, who is like an Obama type character. And Breaking Bad, you'll know he's like a two-faced character, because at the end of his character arc in that show, his face gets blown off and he comes out like Harvey Dent, Two-Face. That's what happens, folks. So this has been going on for a long time, but they're revealing it, so it's dark to light. Dark to light will literally be exposing what's gone on. And Q's said it, that the crimes against the children, against humanity, will be the thing that unites the world. The world is about to know about this very soon. There's a black swan event coming that will ricochet and affect everything, everywhere, all at once. And finally, us that have been awake for a long time will see and know that it's all happened. And it's the thing that we've been waiting for. And we have to go through it, and it will be quick, I believe, and necessary. And on the other side, it's glorious, because we're moving into the new world, and that's the message of hope. But the people have to know. Everyone in the world has to know what's gone on below, and then that unites the world. And that's why they chose the Charlie Kirk assassination production to take place at the Utah Valley University 322. It's a Skull and Bones number. They're exposing it. Military industrial complex is 322. Everyone's going to get exposed really soon. If you're of good heart, got nothing to fear. If you're not, time's up. So simple as that. Anyway, folks, I'll see you soon. Much love. God bless. The best is yet to come.